My wife begged to adopt her distant cousin's baby to save the child from foster care. I was suspicious. A DNA test revealed the baby was actually hers and the cousin was her ex-lover. I handed her the results and the divorce papers in the same envelope. I, 36 male, got blindsided 6 months ago in the worst way possible. My wife, 34, came home one random Thursday evening with this whole sob story about her distant cousin who was struggling with addiction and couldn't care for her newborn. The baby was supposedly going into foster care unless we stepped up. She had tears in her eyes. Real ones. We can't let an innocent child suffer in the system. She's family, even if we barely know her. Please, can we at least consider it? We'd been married 8 years. No kids yet, not for lack of trying. 3 miscarriages in 5 years kinda killed our momentum on that front. My wife had been seeing a therapist, said she'd made peace with possibly being childless. I believed her. The timing felt weird though. This cousin supposedly lived 3 states away, but my wife had never mentioned her before, not once in 8 years. When's the last time you even saw this cousin? I asked. Years ago. Family reunion when I was like 20. But that doesn't matter, does it? A baby needs help. I'm not heartless. The idea of a kid in foster care sucks. But adoption's a massive commitment. I told her we needed time to think, maybe meet this cousin first, understand the full situation. She got defensive. There's no time. The state's already involved. It's now or never. Red flags were waving, but I ignored them. Big mistake. She kept pushing for the next week. Showed me photos of this tiny baby girl. Brought home information packets about kinship adoption. Her mom even called, saying how proud she was that we were doing the right thing. Something felt off, but I couldn't pin it down. My wife seemed almost manic about it, checking her phone constantly, disappearing for calls with the social worker. Then one night, she broke down completely. Said she couldn't live with herself if we didn't help. That losing our own babies made this feel like a second chance. That got me. The emotion felt genuine. So I caved. Okay, let's do it. Her relief was immediate, too immediate, looking back. The adoption process was weirdly smooth. The cousin signed over her rights fast. We never met her, which my wife explained as she's too ashamed to face us. The baby arrived within 3 weeks. My wife named her without really asking me, just announced it one morning. I let it slide because new baby chaos and all that. Here's where my gut started screaming though. My wife was too comfortable. Like, immediately. No learning curve. Knew exactly how to hold her, feed her, soothe her. When I mentioned it, she said she'd been researching and practicing with her friends' babies. Okay, maybe. But then little things kept adding up. The baby had my wife's exact eye color, weirdly similar chin. My mom mentioned it at a family dinner, laughing about genetic coincidences. My wife went pale, changed the subject fast. I started watching closer. My wife's phone was suddenly password protected. She'd take calls in the garage. When mail came from the adoption agency, she'd grab it before I could see. One night, I couldn't sleep. Baby was crying. My wife was knocked out from exhaustion. I went to feed her, and while warming a bottle, my mind just spiraled. The timeline. My wife had been visiting her sick aunt for 2 weeks about 10 months ago. Came back weird, distant. We barely had sex for months after. She blamed depression and work stress. 10 months ago. This baby was 3 months old. My hands started shaking. No way. No possible way. But I couldn't unknow the thought now. I waited until the next morning. My wife left for errands with the baby. I drove to the nearest pharmacy, bought a DNA test kit. The kind for paternity stuff, but also worked for maternity. Swabbed the baby during a diaper change. Got my wife's toothbrush from the bathroom. Sent it off that same day. Paid extra for rush results. 10 days of acting normal while my brain melted. Watching my wife cuddle this baby, sing to her, call her our miracle. The results came via email while I was at work. Opened it in my car during lunch. Probability of maternity, 99.98%. I sat there for 20 minutes, just staring. My wife didn't adopt her cousin's baby. She gave birth to this baby, her baby, and lied to my face about every single part of it. The sick aunt trip, her weight gain that she blamed on stress eating, the baggy clothes she'd worn for months, the emotional distance. She'd had a whole-ass baby and hid it from me. Who was the father? The cousin story was obviously BS. Was it an affair? Did she hide a pregnancy and give the baby up, then immediately regret it? I drove home on autopilot, called my buddy who's a divorce attorney on the way. He told me to document everything, don't confront until I had a plan. Spent that night going through my wife's stuff while she slept. Found an old phone in her nightstand drawer. Dead battery. I charged it in the garage. Jackpot. Months of texts between my wife and some guy. Let's call him her ex because that's what he was, apparently. Her college boyfriend from 15 years ago who she'd supposedly lost touch with. The messages painted a clear picture. They'd reconnected at her high school reunion 2 years ago. Started an emotional affair that turned physical. She got pregnant. Panicked. He was married with kids, wanted nothing to do with the baby. Pressured her to terminate. She couldn't. Decided to hide the pregnancy, give birth in secret, put the baby up for adoption. Went to some facility 3 states over, gave birth, signed papers, came home. Then regretted it immediately. Spent 3 months trying to get the baby back. The ex told her to forget it, blocked her number. She spiraled. That's when she came up with the distant cousin story. Convinced the adoption agency she was actually related, went through kinship adoption channels, and brought home her own biological child. The ex had no idea. I had no idea. Nobody knew except her, and apparently one friend who'd helped cover for her during the sick aunt trip. I felt physically ill reading it all. The worst part? She'd texted the ex 2 weeks ago. Just a photo of the baby with the message, "She's perfect, no thanks to you." He'd responded, "Delete my number. I'm serious. My wife cannot find out." She'd replied, "Don't worry, I got what I wanted." I sat in the garage until 4 a.m., just processing. My wife had betrayed me on every possible level. Cheated, got pregnant, hid it, lied about adoption, brought another man's child into our home under completely false pretenses. And I'd been changing diapers and doing midnight feedings for a kid that wasn't even remotely connected to me. Next morning, I called my lawyer buddy again, told him everything. He said it was nuclear-level deception, and I had grounds for divorce on multiple fronts. Adultery, fraud, you name it. "What do you want to do?" he asked. "I want her to face consequences." He drafted divorce papers that week, cited adultery, fraud, intentional misrepresentation, named the baby situation specifically, requested full reimbursement for adoption costs, medical expenses, everything I'd paid for. I also printed out screenshots of every text between her and the ex, the DNA test results, the adoption paperwork with her forged information. Compiled it all into a folder. Last Thursday, she came home from the grocery store. Baby was at her mom's for the afternoon. I was sitting at the kitchen table. The folder was in front of me. "Hey babe, can you help me unload?" She called from the garage. "Come in here first. We need to talk." She walked in, saw my face, and her smile dropped. "What's wrong?" I slid the folder across the table. "Open it." She hesitated, then did. Watched her face cycle through confusion, recognition, then pure terror. DNA results on top, divorce papers underneath. "I know everything," I said. Voice weirdly calm. The affair, the pregnancy, the fake adoption story, all of it. She dropped the folder. "Let me explain." "Explain what?" "How you cheated. How you faked an adoption. How you brought another man's baby into our home and lied to my face for 6 months. Tears started. I panicked. I didn't know what to do. "You could have told me the truth, at literally any point. You wouldn't have understood." "You're right, I don't understand. I understand you're a liar, though. That part's crystal clear." She tried to grab my hand. I pulled away. "Please, we can fix this. I love you. I made a mistake, but..." "A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. This is betrayal, premeditated, calculated betrayal." I stood up, grabbed my keys. "I'm staying at a hotel. You have 72 hours to find somewhere else to live. My lawyer will be in touch about proceedings." "You can't just leave. What about the baby? Your baby, from your affair, not my problem anymore." Walked out while she was still crying. Update 1. It's been 2 weeks since I dropped the bomb. The entitlement levels have been absolutely insane. First, my wife tried the sympathy angle. Called me 50-something times that first night. Left voicemails ranging from sobbing apologies to angry accusations about me abandoning a child. I didn't respond to any of it. Sent one text, "Contact my lawyer." That's it. She showed up at my hotel the next morning. Front desk called my room. I told them I didn't want visitors. She made a scene in the lobby, crying about her cruel husband, until they threatened to call cops. She left. Then her mom got involved. Called me screaming about how I was destroying the family and punishing an innocent baby. Your daughter cheated and lied about everything, I said. She made a mistake. She's trying to make it right. By committing fraud, that's making it right? You're being vindictive. That baby needs a father. She has a father. He's just not me. Maybe your daughter should have thought about that before lying. Her mom called me every name in the book before I hung up. My wife's sister sent me a long text about forgiveness and what Jesus would do. I don't even go to church, deleted without responding. But here's where it gets wild. My wife filed an emergency motion to prevent me from abandoning the baby financially. Her lawyer argued I'd assumed parental responsibility through the adoption process and couldn't just walk away. My lawyer shut that down fast. Explained the adoption was fraudulent, based on my wife's lies. I'd signed papers under false pretenses, thinking we were adopting a relative's child, not her affair baby. Judge wasn't happy about any of it, but sided with us. No financial responsibility for a child born from my wife's affair that I'd been deceived about. My wife's lawyer tried arguing I'd bonded with the baby. Judge literally said, that's not how paternity works. Then came the dirty tricks. She posted on social media, full victim mode. Vague post about people abandoning families when things get hard, and true character showing during crisis. Her friends ate it up. Comment section was wild. People I'd known for years calling me heartless without knowing any details. I stayed quiet. My lawyer said let her dig her own grave. A few days later, she escalated. Sent mutual friends the DNA test results without context. Just the document showing she was the baby's mother. Made it look like I was divorcing her for having a baby. Painted me as the villain, abandoning a new mom. That's when I'd had enough. I posted once, just once, screenshots of her texts with the ex, the parts about the affair, her admitting to the fake adoption story, the DNA results showing she'd lied about everything. Caption, since people are getting half-truths, my wife had an affair, got pregnant, hid the pregnancy, gave birth secretly, then faked adopting her own affair baby while telling me it was a distant cousin's child. I found out through a DNA test, divorcing for adultery and fraud. Full story. Tagged everyone who'd been talking trash. The reaction was immediate. Her support evaporated. People started apologizing to me. Her friends turned on her. The comments under her posts went from supportive to brutal. You lied about everything? This is actually insane. Poor guy, I'd divorce you too. She deleted all her social media that night. But she wasn't done. Called my boss. Told him I was going through a mental health crisis and making concerning statements. Tried to get me suspended or fired. My boss called me directly. Your wife just tried to claim you're unstable. What's going on? I explained the situation briefly. He was quiet for a minute. That's... wow. Okay, don't worry about it. She doesn't get to interfere with your job. Apparently she'd also called HR. They documented it as harassment. Then her ex's wife called me. Yes, really. Is this true? About my husband and your wife? I confirmed. Sent her the screenshots. She thanked me, voice shaking, and hung up. Found out later she'd confronted her husband with evidence. He'd initially denied it, or she kicked him out anyway. Now he's apparently furious at my wife for ruining his life. My wife tried calling me crying about, you destroyed his marriage. I finally answered, no, you did that by sleeping with him. Actions have consequences. He's threatening to take the baby. Good luck to him. Not my problem. You're heartless. I'm protecting myself from a liar. There's a difference. Hung up and blocked her number. Again. Yesterday, her lawyer sent another motion, this time demanding I pay temporary spousal support because she sacrificed her career to raise our child. Except she'd been working full-time until the baby came, and it's not our child. My lawyer's response was beautiful. Cited the affair, the fraud, her full employment history. Argued she deserves zero support given the circumstances. Hearings next week. My lawyer says we're in good shape. Meanwhile, I've been processing everything in therapy. Turns out being betrayed on this level messes with your head. Who knew? The baby situation kills me though. Not gonna lie. I spent 6 months being her dad, late night feedings, diaper changes, the whole thing. Got attached despite everything. But she's not mine. Never was. And staying would mean accepting my wife's betrayal and living a lie forever. Some people think I'm cold for walking away from the baby. Maybe I am. But I can't raise another man's affair child with a woman who lied about everything. That's not cold. That's survival. Update 2. 3 months since everything exploded. The divorce is almost finalized, but the entitlement reached absolutely unhinged levels before we got here. After losing the spousal support motion, my wife's approach shifted to pure manipulation and chaos. She started having the baby, accidentally FaceTime me. Just happened to call while the baby was crying. Leave voicemails of the baby babbling. Sent photos to my email with captions like, "She misses her daddy." Psychological warfare. I blocked everything I could. Then she tried weaponizing her ex. Apparently convinced him that I was going to expose him publicly. I wasn't. Already sent evidence to his wife. Done with him. He sent me threatening messages about keeping his name out of my mouth and lawyer up. I forwarded them to my lawyer. She sent him a cease and desist. He shut up real quick when he realized I had documentation of everything. But my wife's family really ramped things up. Her dad, who I'd barely heard from in 8 years, suddenly wanted to meet. Said we needed to talk man to man. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Met him at a coffee shop. He tried the guilt trip immediately. That baby needs stability. You really gonna let your pride destroy a child's future? The baby isn't mine. Your daughter cheated and lied. Mistakes happen. You're not perfect either. I never cheated, faked an adoption, or committed fraud. So yeah, actually, I am better than that. You're breaking up the family over this? Your daughter broke up the family when she slept with her ex. He got angry. Started raising his voice about me being unforgiving and cruel. I stood up to leave. You walk away now, you're dead to this family. Good thing I'm divorcing out of it then. Left him sitting there. Next came the real dirty move. My wife filed a police report claiming I'd stolen items from the house during the separation. Specifically my own stuff that I'd taken when I moved out. My laptop, some clothes, personal documents, stuff that was clearly mine. Cops showed up at my hotel. I showed them receipts, photos, purchase records, explained the situation. They looked annoyed. "Sir, this is clearly a civil matter. She can't report theft of your own belongings." They noted it and left. But it was on record now. My wife trying to get me arrested. My lawyer added it to the growing list of her harassment. Then the court hearing happened last week. The big one. Asset division, final decree, everything. My wife showed up dressed nice, baby in her arms. Brought her mom for support. The optics were calculated, trying to look like the struggling single mom. Her lawyer tried every angle. Argued I should pay child support because I'd acted as father for 6 months. Judge rejected it based on fraud. Argued I owed her for emotional distress I'd caused by leaving. Judge looked annoyed. Rejected it. Tried to get me to cover her legal fees. Rejected. Requested I pay alimony since she'd supported me emotionally through our infertility struggles. Judge actually laughed at that one. Rejected. My lawyer presented everything methodically. The affair evidence, the fake adoption, the harassment, the false police report, her social media defamation campaign. All of it. Judge was not impressed with my wife. "Ma'am, you committed fraud against your husband, brought another man's child into the marriage under false pretenses, and have been harassing him throughout these proceedings. You're not entitled to anything beyond division of marital assets." Final ruling. House gets sold, we split equity 50-50. I'm not thrilled about this, but legally it's fair since she's on the deed. She keeps her car, I keep mine. We each keep our own retirement accounts. She gets 0 alimony, 0 spousal support. I get reimbursed for adoption costs, baby expenses from the last 6 months. She pays her own legal fees. Restraining order granted. She can't contact me for any reason. Divorce finalized in 30 days pending house sale. Her face when the judge ruled was something else. Shock, anger, disbelief. She'd really thought she'd get sympathy points for being a struggling mother. Outside the courthouse, her mom tried confronting me. "You happy now? Ruining her life?" She ruined her own life. I just stopped letting her ruin mine. That baby deserves a father. Then maybe she should contact the actual father. I'm done. Walked away while her mom yelled about karma. The ex's situation imploded too, by the way. His wife divorced him, took primary custody of their kids. He's paying child support and alimony to her now. Heard through mutual acquaintances he's bitter about one mistake destroying everything. Yeah, well, actions meet consequences. My wife tried one last manipulation. Sent a letter to my parents' house, can't contact me directly because of the restraining order. Long handwritten thing about how sorry she was, how she panicked and made terrible choices, how she hoped someday I'd forgive her. Ended with, "Our daughter will always have your last name as a reminder of what we were." That hit different. She'd given the baby my last name on the adoption papers. I'd never thought about it until now. My lawyer says I can petition to have it changed, but honestly, I don't care enough to fight that battle. Let the kid have whatever name. Not my circus anymore. Final update. Divorce finalized 2 weeks ago. House sold yesterday. Everything's officially done. The settlement process was weirdly anticlimactic. We split the house proceeds 50-50 like ordered. Came out to about $85,000 each after paying off the mortgage and closing costs. Not great, not terrible. Enough to start over. My wife's been radio silent since the final hearing. Restraining orders doing its job. But I heard through the grapevine what's happening with her. She's living with her parents. They're helping with the baby while she works. From what I understand, it's tense. Her dad apparently lectures her constantly about consequences and poor choices. Her ex wants nothing to do with the baby. Told her through lawyers he'll voluntarily terminate parental rights, but won't pay child support if she pursues it. She didn't pursue it. So she's raising a baby alone, working full-time, living with parents who resent the situation. Her social circle basically evaporated after everything came out. People don't trust liars, turns out. The ex's wife divorced him, moved to another state with their kids. He's apparently miserable, lost his job due to the scandal, worked at a family-oriented company that didn't appreciate the affair baby situation. Nobody won here, except maybe lawyers. As for me, I'm rebuilding. Moved into a decent apartment. Nothing fancy, but it's mine. No shared history, no ghosts. Therapy's helped a lot. Working through the betrayal trauma, the attachment I'd formed with the baby, the whole mess. My therapist says it's normal to grieve, even when you made the right choice. I grieve the marriage I thought I had, the future I'd imagined, the family I'd believed in. But I don't regret leaving. I told my therapist the hardest part isn't the betrayal itself. It's knowing I'd spent 6 months loving a baby that wasn't mine, while my wife watched me bond with the physical evidence of her affair. Some people still think I'm cruel, some cold for walking away from the baby. Coworker said, "But you were her dad for 6 months. Doesn't that mean something?" It does mean something. It means I got attached to a child I was deceived into thinking was my adopted daughter. But biology matters when it's someone else's affair, baby. Context matters. I'm not a villain for refusing to raise another man's child born from my wife's betrayal. My buddy's wife said it best. You didn't abandon a baby. You removed yourself from a fraud. There's a difference. That helped. Dating seems impossible right now. Trust issues are real. How do you trust anyone after something like this? My wife looked me in the eye for 6 months and lied about everything. But I'm working on it. Small steps, focusing on myself, my hobbies, my friends, picked up woodworking, making furniture in my apartment complex's workshop. It's meditative. My parents have been great. Mom calls weekly to check in. Dad took me to a basketball game last month. Didn't mention the divorce once. Just hung out like normal. That meant a lot. I ran into one of my wife's friends at the grocery store last week. She looked uncomfortable, tried to avoid me. I didn't engage. Let her scurry away. Some of her family still blames me, apparently. Her sister posted something vague on social media about people who lack forgiveness. Didn't tag me, but obvious. I don't care anymore. They can think whatever they want. The truth is documented. Legal record shows exactly what happened. That's enough. One weird thing, I sometimes think about the baby. Wonder if she's okay, if she's hitting milestones, stuff like that. Then I remind myself it's not my place to wonder. Not my kid, not my life. The 6 months I spent as her dad were based on lies. They don't count. Can't let them count or I'll never move on. My lawyer sent a final bill last week. Total cost of this divorce, about $15 in legal fees. Worth every penny to be free from that situation. Could have been worse, could have found out years later, could have had actual kids with her before discovering she's capable of this level of deception. At least I found out when I did. Someone asked if I regret doing the DNA test. Like, would ignorance have been better? Hell no. Living alive forever isn't peace. It's just a slower kind of death. I'd rather face hard truth than comfortable lies. So where am I now? Honestly? Okay. Not great, not terrible, just okay. Some days are hard. Some days I'm angry. Some days I'm just sad about how things turned out. But I'm free. No more lies, no more manipulation, no more pretending everything's fine. My wife made her choices, cheated, lied, committed fraud, brought another man's baby into our marriage. I made mine, walked away and didn't look back. She's living with the consequences of her actions. I'm living with the consequences of choosing self-respect. That's where we are. That's how it ends. Not with some dramatic confrontation or redemption arc, just consequences, real, lasting consequences. She wanted to have her affair, hide her pregnancy, and keep her comfortable married life. Wanted everything without accountability. Reality had other plans. And me? I'm building a new life, one based on truth this time. No matter how much that truth hurt, people can judge my choices all they want. But they didn't live my situation, didn't get betrayed on every level, didn't spend 6 months being lied to while caring for another man's affair baby. I did what I had to do, protected myself, drew a line. That's not cold, that's survival. And I'm still here, still standing, still moving forward. That's enough for now. The rest will come with time.